that time again. It's Tuesday. It's 2 p.m. and someone's fired a chainsaw up outside, which is normally what happens on at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, just as when I'm going live on the Dixie Belle YouTube channel. So, hello, welcome to the Dixie Belle YouTube channel. I am Connie. I am a furniture painter. I'm also a brand ambassador for Dixie Belle Paint. And I am live here every Tuesday at 2 p.m. with my chainsaw friend in the background, or sometimes a strimmer or a lawnmower. Sometimes there's lots of background noise, and I've got all the windows and doors open because it's quite humid here, if you can't tell from the old mop. So I'm at a slightly different angle today. I've got myself like set up with a little desk situation here, and that's because hi Jan, what I'm working on today with you, we're not going to get it finished, but what I'm going to start working on with you is a cute little box that I found. Now, I don't usually pick up small pieces. Give me a 5-foot sideboard, huge chest of drawers, anything like that, furniture, big piece of furniture I can get stuck into, and I'm happy. Small things tend to take me as much time as big things, and they can be quite fiddly, and I'm not a fiddly kind of person. I like just getting stuck into something big and chunky. However, I've taken it upon myself to start collecting little wooden trinket boxes. I don't know why. I keep buying them from charity shops. And as of yet, I'm looking around because I'm trying to count how many I've got. I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As of yet, I haven't even done one. What is wrong with me? So I keep thinking that'd be a really cool one to do in between a project. But then what I do in between a furniture project, is drag another piece of furniture out. So I've quite often got maybe 3 or 4 pieces on the go, because that's just how I roll. I wish I wasn't like this, but I am. But anyway, I am going to complete some small boxes. I actually have done a small trinket box. A few months ago, I did a small trinket box with a transfer on it. Oh, at least I'm not the only one. Thank you. I feel a bit better now. Oh, it's catching. The trinket boxes are catching. Also, I'm not a particularly girly girl. Hi, Maria. I'm not particularly a girly girl, so like trinket boxes in my head, and all the ones that I've seen have kind of been a bit like very pretty and girly and pink and flowery. And whilst I appreciate that is probably the best look for a trinket box or a jewelry box, it's not 100% my vibe. So I'm going to try something that's not like that. So we'll start it today. So this is the piece that I picked up. These are grunge it up. I don't know about grunge, but I'm definitely going to go kind of a little bit maybe like boho-y kind of feel with it. And obviously the styles that I pick up do lend themselves well to that kind of look. Like, I don't really pick up anything that I can't see myself doing my style on, if that makes sense, because that's when I personally have like a bit of a mental block, because all I can see is what other people would do to it, not what I would do to it. So this struck me because of the carved details around the sides, on the top. Oh, that was bubble wrap popping here. There we go. And the reason I've got bubble wrap is because the piece that I'm leaning on is actually half sanded, so I don't want to get paint and stuff all over it. This is the piece. It's cool, isn't it? It's different. I like it because it's different. It's not your typical kind of box. It's got a glass panel there, which is fine, because obviously you can see what's inside, but the only issue is it's cracked on the inside. You can't see it from you can just see a little crack at the top there. So it's got a big crack across here, and it's also got a crack here. Now, although it's cracked, it is actually really secure. Like, I have tried to push it out and it won't come. So I think because it's stuck all the way around here, obviously it's just been dropped and it's split the glass. I can't even feel like a crack or anything in it. So what I'm going to do is I think I might decoupage in here, because I would then, obviously I'll be slick sticking, and then I'll be putting a sheet of decoupage paper on the inside, which is obviously going to hide the crack, and it's also going to prevent the glass from tipping out, which I don't think it is, because I have really pushed it from this side, so I don't think it's going to do that anyway. So that's my plan to decoupage, and I think I probably will be decoupaging the glass bit as well, or maybe just painting that. I'm not sure. I'm going to see how the rest of it goes. So I literally haven't touched this at all. I bought it home from the charity shop. It cost me, I think, £2.95. I think it was really cheap for like what it is, a nice little cute little solid wooden piece. And then I think what would have been in here is another insert for maybe rings and earrings and stuff. You can see there. Oh, you've got stained glass experience. Well, you're a good one to know, aren't you? I'm guessing you're not in the UK, because that little bit there would look amazing with a cool design on it. But unfortunately, I am not a stained glass expert. I'm not a glass expert at all. In fact, I always stay away from pieces with glass in. I have just been into town this morning and went past a little charity shop, and they had some amazing mid-century, really cool mid-century stuff in there. Stuff that could probably just be flipped. I'm not a massive flipper, but if there's a quick dollar in it, I'll do it. And I was like, no, walk away, because they all had glass in them. I was like, walk away. So I walked away. I was quite restrained, actually, because those pieces were actually really funky. Again, mid-century, I'll dabble in it occasionally, but those pieces were nice mid-century, if you know what I mean. I couldn't see any names on them, but they had a nice shape to them. Anyway, we're getting off track here. Also, apologies if I get interrupted. My phone is set to do not disturb. However, I am due a phone call about my car, and I've told them to leave a message. So hopefully it won't ring. Sometimes it does ring when I'm live, even if it's on do not disturb. I don't know why. Technology and me. So I haven't touched this. Haven't done anything to it. I literally popped it over there with the rest of the stash. So what I'm going to do is start by cleaning it, because it's obviously pre-loved. It's been in a charity shop. People have used it. I'm guessing the charity shop haven't cleaned it. They don't normally. And even if they did, obviously, I don't know what this has been cleaned with. Even if they have cleaned it, they might have put polish on it. They might have just put a quick polish on it. And anything that's sitting on the surface of your piece, no matter what your piece is, whether it's a small piece like this, whether it's furniture, whether you're going to prime it, whether you're just going to go it straight in with paint, the most important step to prep is cleaning. So in this bottle, it's Waitrose, obviously, for those of you in the UK. If you know, you know. Waitrose is a posh supermarket. I never go. And when I do, I keep the cleaning bottles just to say, look, I shop at Waitrose. But I actually don't shop at Waitrose because it's far too expensive. So in this bottle, I have got some pre-mixed cleaner in here. So Dixie Belle's White Lightning is a deglossing and degreasing cleaner, which means if you use that cleaner, there's not very much else that you need to do. So if you spray this cleaner on a piece of furniture, you'll instantly notice that the finish goes dull. So that is deglossing the surface, and then you can usually just go in straight ahead with your paint without having to do anything else, because it's the glossiness that is obviously going to stop your paint from adhering to the surface. So I have pre-mixed them in this spray bottle just because when I work on smaller pieces, I find it easier to spray it on. Hi, Jan. When I'm working on a big piece, I normally dispense White Lightning in a bucket with warm water, and I'll just use that sort of cleaning solution in the bucket and then rub my piece all over with a microfiber cloth, really scrub it, because I find that way of cleaning on a big piece is just a little bit more effective than spraying it all over. I mean, you can do either or. I know loads of people that do it this way, bigger pieces. It's just personal preference. I just like to get some nice hot water, get my gloves on, and really get in there and clean all the gunk off. But for small pieces, then this is my go-to, a little pre-mixed sort of solution. So in here I tip my white lightning, which is granulated, and then the water on top of that, shook it up, and then it mixes together, and then you've got a perfect deglossing, degreasing spray for your furniture. So I'm going to clean it all over. I'm going to spray this. I can see like bits of dust and grime and things, especially all in that carved area. And you can see, can you see? So the colour that this is dripping off is yellow. It's coming off onto the bubble wrap here in a yellow, and I haven't even agitated that. I've not scrubbed it or anything. And usually that would indicate that we're going to have some kind of bleed through issue. So if you are cleaning a piece and your water is turning very brown, you've either got a really dirty piece, which sometimes is the case, or you've got a piece that will bleed through into your paint. And what that means is, can you see? That particular piece that you're working on, i.e. this one, for example, it means that, oh, it's dripping all over my legs now. It means that it's got something in the wood that is going to leach into your paint finish. And if you are using light colours, that's when it changes your paint colour to basically look a little bit yellow. It sometimes looks a bit browny. Sometimes it looks a little bit pink as well. It depends on the wood, and it also depends on the colour that you're using paint wise as well. So if you ever had that problem where you've painted a piece and it started to basically look like a stain coming through, it doesn't always happen in one consistent colour. Sometimes you'll get patches. If you've got pine with knots in, sometimes the knots will bleed really terribly bad and the rest of it might be okay. So if that happens, that's usually what it is. The other thing that can cause issues is nicotine. If you've had a piece that's been in a house where people have smoked, nicotine can also cause a similar effect to bleed through. But this doesn't smell. It does now, sprayed it, but it doesn't smell of nicotine. And you can see, can you see that colour liquid on here? So it's gone like yellowy kind of colour, golden and yellowy. So that is an indication that this is going to have bleed through. However, I'm not going to be painting it a solid colour. So, should you always prime? No. That is actually not always the case. If you wanted a solid block colour, for example, if I was just going to paint this mint julep, for example, and seal it, and I just wanted it mint julep, then I would be using a stain blocking primer. So Dixie Belle do a water-based stain blocking primer called Boss. It comes in a couple of different colours. It comes in clear, white and grey. And that will prevent bleed through issues. However, I've just done a piece and I'll be sharing it to my social media today. And I will also be, I've just got a couple of hours of editing. I'm just really making sure this is clean, by the way. I'm not doing anything different. I'll also be editing a short video for YouTube for the Dixie Belle YouTube channel. So it'll be on this channel whenever Dixie Belle posts it. I'm not sure. And that is pine. It's knotty. And I didn't prime. And the reason for that is because I wanted to lean into those kind of bleed through. If it did bleed through, I was going to embrace it. So I was going to lean into that whole kind of like rusticy style. which I did, which if you do follow me on social media, you will see it a little bit later and you might possibly understand why I've done it. So the short answer is you don't always, this is just shop cloth, by the way, that I'm just scrubbing this with. You don't always have to prime. It really depends on the look. If you are using a lot of kind of dark waxes and you are distressing and all those kind of things, and you really want to kind of lean into that heavily distressed kind of look, then I don't prime. And I know there's people out there that go, you should always prime, you should always do this, you should always that. It just depends on the style, because I do some really kind of worn out kind of rusticy styles. It's not always necessary. If you wanted a beautiful kind of one colour perfect finish, then obviously priming is the way to go. But I do a lot of decorative finishes and they can handle not being primed. And I've been doing this for nearly 7 years. So it's just a little bit of knowing when you can get away with it and when you absolutely can't. So that's the cleaning. When you've used Dixie Belle's White Lightning, you should always rinse. And that is, again, going to remove any cleaning residue or any of the Dixie Belle, the White Lightning. That's going to remove it from the surface, because that can affect how your paint goes on. I'm using spray bottles as well, because it's not putting too much damp on the surface of this piece. So I don't want it to be absolutely dripping, soaking wet. I don't want to get the inside wet, the red lining. It's quite good condition. Oh, you've just asked me, will I take the lining out? Not if I can help it. Not if I can help it. I mean, I don't know what's going to be under that lining. It might be just nice wood under there, and I could rip it out and just have a wood box. But the trim goes over the hinges quite nicely, and it also surrounds there nicely as well. So I'm a little bit hesitant to take that out, because I actually quite like it. And the colour that I'm going to use is a little bit of a contrast to what's on the inside. So I'm hoping it's going to work. And if it doesn't, do you know what? I don't even care, because it was less than £3. So we've had fun, we've experimented, and sometimes that is the best way. There's absolutely nothing worse than prepping an entire piece for hours or sometimes days of furniture, and you want to do something a little bit different. And I say this all the time. You want to do something a little bit different, a little bit experimental, something that you haven't done before. You prep a massive piece of chest of drawers or something, and then it doesn't come to fruition for whatever reason. And it's happened to me so many times, and I have then had to sand it all off and start again. Whereas a small piece, I mean, I'll just give this to one of the kids if it looks terrible. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I've wasted a significant amount of time sort of prepping it, and I haven't lost a lot of money in it. I can just chalk it up to kind of, you know, a fun kind of experiment. So she's cleaned with White Lightning. She's rinsed just with tap water. That's all that is in there. Just a bit of tap water to make sure there's no White Lightning residue on the surface. So you can see it's gone darker because it's wet. It's not soaking wet, but it's damp. And it's damp all over. So I'm not going to prime, because I want to do a stain. Now, I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm here for it. So I was not expecting this to bleed through and have the kind of orangey, whoop, that's the bubble wrap again, have that kind of orangey runoff. So I wasn't expecting to do that. However, I'm just going to go straight in with the stain on top of this water. Oh, not water, but sort of damp surface, if you like. So the stain that I'm using, I'm just going to tilt you down so you can see what I'm doing. So the stain that I'm going to use is this. It's Voodoo Gel Stain and it's water-based. So by applying it over a damp surface, sometimes if I was doing, say, a top of a piece like this and I was staining this, I'd just give it a light mist with my mister bottle. Also, I've got a cup of tea here as well because I've been out all morning and I was parched when I got in. Sometimes if I'm doing a piece of furniture that I've sanded off and I wanted to stain, I will lightly mist it first. And that's because this is a water-based stain and it just helps the stain absorb evenly and it stops the dry wood grabbing onto the stain and giving any sort of unevenness or tide marks or anything like that before I've had a chance to work it in. So this is probably a little bit more damp than what I would ideally like. But I haven't got my hairdryer out, so let's just see what happens. It might look terrible. And if it does look terrible, the good thing is this is a water-based stain, so I'll just be able to paint over the top of this if it looks absolutely awful. So the really cool thing about these, this is in the colour Temptress, by the way, which is like a turquoisey colour. You can see it next to my ring. One of my favourite colours. Don't get to use it very often, but the Voodoo Gel Stains come in loads and loads of different colours. There's absolutely loads of them. So I thought it'd be nice to show you something that's a little bit different. So I'm just going to shake it up because it has been sat a while. Like I say, I don't use it very often, but it is such a nice colour. And it's got a little nozzle. And I'm just going to start by whacking a bit on. Oh, what's going to happen? I don't know. And then, look how nice that colour is. It's a little bit like Mermaid Tail, but not. It's a little bit different also. I would say is it bright? I think it's a bit brighter than Mermaid Tail. So I'm not going to worry about the glass at the moment. This is why I haven't done anything with the glass first. And I'm just going to use a chip brush, which is this. Really inexpensive brush. I think these are only a few dollars. And they've got natural bristles. So it's just going to help me work the stain in there. And that's probably a little bit too much stain, not going to lie. We've saturated that. And I wanted to make sure that I've got all in there. And all in the carved details. Like so. And then, no, I'll get a new piece of cloth. And then we're going to see if the stain has grabbed or if I needed to wait until the box had dried out a little bit. Definitely grabbed. Just get the majority of that off there. Also going to make sure there's no drips around the edge. So that's what it looks like. So you still get the wood, but it's sitting in all of those pretty carved details. I think that looks pretty cool. I quite like it. But what I might do is just wait to see how it dries, because obviously this wood is darker now because it's wet than what it will be when it's dry. When it's dried out, there might not be hardly any blue on here at all. So I might do a second application. So you can layer this up. If you want a more kind of solid finish, you can add more colour. If you want a more sheer finish, you can do what I do and applied it over to like a damp surface. And that way you're obviously watering the stain down, and because it's water-based, you can do that. And that way you get more of kind of like a sheer coverage. But what it has done is it's taken out that yellow sort of tone to the wood. It's just made it look almost, well, it's just like a paint wash effect because I've obviously rubbed it off. Can you see? That's the colour of the wet wood. And that is now, it's gone more of like a, obviously it's counteracting the blue, is counteracting the orangey yellow, and it's just taking it down to a more kind of, it's a nicer tone, basically. A nicer tone. So you notice I didn't sand this. And that's because the finish on here, it feels like, I don't know. I don't even know if there is a finish on here. It doesn't feel like there is. If you have got something that's got really thick varnish on or really shiny, you'd probably have to sand that off first before applying a stain, because I find that these stains work best on a surface that's porous, so that it's got something to grip onto. The no paint gel stains, which are the oil based ones, which are in the tins, they will sit over the top of an existing finish absolutely fine. So if you've got something that's previously stained or varnished and you want to use no paint gel stain, that will sit over the top. Whereas this, I prefer to use it over raw wood, and this feels like raw wood to me, so that's why I've not sanded it. I just gave it a really good clean. So I'm just dabbing the excess paint off, and it's so quick and so easy to do, and like I say, buildable. So I am gonna, so that's the side that I've just done, that's the side without, done, without, done, without. I'm just going to quickly whiz it over the rest. Super quick. It just looks really pretty, and it's so easy. Also, this does require a top coat, so that might be where your staining or your bleed through issues might begin. So quite often bleed through happens at the top coat stage, and everything looks hunky-dory until you've applied that top coat, and then all of a sudden it's making your paint turn yellow. And that is just because a water-based top coat can pull the bleed through the paint, and it like accelerates it or something. I don't know the technical term, but sometimes it can, your bleed through starts sometimes when you put your top coat on. It's not always apparent from the get-go, just from when you put your paint on. So I will be, what will I be doing with the top coat on this? I could wax it. Waxing, because it's not a watery sort of finish like a clear coat or a gator hide, waxing doesn't always have that issue. Again, this is a little bit like what I was saying earlier, when I decide whether I'm going to prime a piece, it also depends on how I'm going to finish that piece as well. So if I know I'm going to wax, I know that is a little bit more forgiving in terms of if I'm going to get any bleed through issues than a clear coat, because it's quite often people say it's the clear coat yellowing, but if it's a water-based clear coat, then that doesn't happen. You do get yellowing if you use an oil-based top coat, or you can get yellowing, and that is the top coat. It's the oils in the top coat turning yellow. But water-based top coats don't. It's the tannins being pulled through by that top coat, if that makes sense. I think I probably will build this stain up a little bit, so I'll have to let it dry, because if I apply it over the top and it's still damp, what will happen is it'll just reactivate the stain that I've already put down and pull it off, basically. So it's the same process as if you're putting a couple of layers of paint on a piece. You don't go straight back in when your piece is wet and put another coat of paint on, because you will interfere with the first coat. You have to wait sure that that's completely dry before you do that. So I'll be doing the same with this, but because I've put it on fairly kind of lightly, it shouldn't take too long to dry, and I can always blast it with a hairdryer. And then I'm going to see kind of how it looks and where I'm going to go from there. Whether I'm going to put another layer of the stain on top to build it up, or whether I'm going to leave it as it is and then just do something with the glass panels. I don't know. I don't know. Just make sure I've got no drips. also want to make sure that I've caught that lip open. Also want to make sure I've caught the lip around here. Can you see where it's gone through? Just there. So I want to make sure that I can't actually see what I'm doing here. I've gone quiet because I'm concentrating. There we go. So if you had something like this and you wanted to keep that kind of glass feature intact, what you'd need to do is tape it off, because can you see here, that stain has just like leaked underneath the glass. It's not going to affect mine because I'm going to do something with this glass panel. I'm going to paint it so that you won't be able to see this. But if you did, you'd obviously need to tape off this side so that you didn't get any leakage problems. So carefully going to close that. Can you see how different that looks already? Just from that one really quick. I mean, how long did that take me? 10 minutes? Not even that. And that's because I'm working slower because I'm on camera. But if you imagine you could do this, obviously, like I say, the techniques that I do on smaller pieces always translate to bigger pieces. There's nothing to stop you doing that technique. If you had a piece of furniture that had like a carved detail on it or something like that, you could do this exact process and it just gives you more of like a beachy kind of look. If you just kept the tint of blue, it's just completely knocked out the yellow tone to it. Like I say, it could change slightly when it's dry. I anticipate that it is going to dry and go a touch lighter. So I might go back in. Now I've put that initial stain on and I've got a first coat of coverage. What I might do is go back once it's completely dry and just add a little bit more blue, because I think it can take it. I think this can take some more blue. But yeah, cute, isn't it? Cute little piece. Hope that has been useful, helpful, enjoyable. I hope one of those 3 things. If not, I'm not doing my job properly, am I? But that is Voodoo Gel Stain. The colour that I'm using, by the way, is Temptress. I don't know if I said that. That's the colour that I've used. It's a really pretty turquoisey shade. As you can see, now it's covering my hands. Brush, rag, and trinket box. So hopefully, fingers crossed, next week I will have either done this and you'll see it on my social media, or I'll do it with you, because I don't know what to do in there. I mean, if I was cool, which I am not, I would hand paint a little design in there, maybe sort of like a bit folk arty, because this kind of looks a bit folk arty to me, you know, with the hand carved. It's got some flowers. Oh, I know what would look cool. Some little pretty sort of flowers in that similar shape. But I'm no artist, so I will make it look like a child's done it. That's the only issue. So decoupage is always a winner, because that makes things look like you've painted it, but you haven't. So hopefully that was helpful. You've all gone very, very quiet on me. So you're either sitting there thinking, well, that was a little bit rubbish, or you're just blown away. You're blown away by Voodoo Gel Stain. I hope it's the latter. So yes, that is as far as I'm going to do today, because as always, it's just short and sweet. I've got to go and pick my kids up from school now and start the evening events, which is food and dog walking and all that. She's blown away. Teresa's blown away. She's this. I thought so. I thought it was a stunned silence. I thought you were all sitting there just amazement. But yeah, that is just one use of Voodoo Gel Stain. Super quick, super easy. They've also, Dixie Belle are geniuses. Don't tell them I said that. They're geniuses because everybody loves the bleached wood effect me included. And they have a stain that gives you that look. So you don't have to use any nasties, no chemicals, no bleach. It gives you a bleach look effect. I've done a couple of pieces in it. And to be honest, it's one of those things where I think I could use it on every single project that I do. I could use it on this little bench that I've got here. It's not a bench, it's a table. I could use it on this table. I've got some pine bedsides over there. I could use it on that. But if I was to do it on every single piece, I think people would probably get bored. So I don't. But it's such a good stain. So if you like that really light, washed, kind of bleached wood effect, you need Au Naturel in Voodoo Gel Stain. So not only does it come in colours, it also comes in black, browns, grey, blues. There's a green. There's a white. And now there's like an Au Naturel, which is just like I say, an Au Naturel kind of neutral bleach tone. It just gives you that really nice bleach wood effect. Looks really good on pine. Looks really good on oak. Have I tried it on any other wood? I don't think so, but it looks good. Look, just take my word for it, okay? And that's it. I'll be back next week. I realised yesterday there's only 4 weeks left of term before my kids break up. And then it's 6 weeks of chaos. Well, I say 6 weeks. We've actually got a holiday book for 2 of those weeks. So I won't be live for 2 of those weeks, unless you want me to, you know, paint something on a beach or something. I won't be live for 2 of those weeks. But yeah, the kids are going to be in the background very, very soon. I might even get them involved at one point, but it's probably not a good idea, actually, because they get a little bit out of hand. Anyway, I'm rattling. I will let you go. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. I know it's super early for a lot of you, so I always appreciate it when you tune in and come and say hi, even if you are silently stunned. If you've got any questions, as always, drop me a message. I will get back to you as soon as I can, and I will see you same time next week. Have a lovely day. Bye.